I'd like to welcome you to Wednesday's video on the book of Romans. Today we're in Romans, the 9th chapter. We're going to be looking at verse number 19, but I want to just go back to the last phrase of verse number 18 and just explain something to you. The Bible tells us in verse number 18 at the very end, he says, "And he hardens whom he desires." You see, God hardened the heart of Pharaoh. Now, in order for us to understand this, we need to go back to the book of Exodus. And we need to find out that God really didn't cause the hardening of Pharaoh's heart, but Pharaoh hardened his own heart. And you see, God will allow you to do whatever you want. And so let me just give you some examples here in the book of Exodus. Exodus 7, verse 22, and the magicians of Egypt did the same with their secret, and Pharaoh's heart was hardened. Exodus 8, verse number 15, and he hardened his heart and did not listen to them. Exodus 8, verse 32, and Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time. Exodus 9, verse 12, and the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart. Now, notice something. Pharaoh's heart is already hard. The Lord is just allowing Pharaoh's heart to continue in hardness. Then Exodus 9:35, and Pharaoh hardened his heart. In Exodus 10, verse 27, then the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart. Notice again the sequence. Pharaoh hardens his heart. The Lord allows Pharaoh's heart to be hard. Exodus 11, verse 10. And Moses and Aaron performed all these wonders before Pharaoh, yet the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the children of Israel go out of the land. Do you understand that God was not the one that was instigating the hardness of heart? He was just allowing Pharaoh to have what Pharaoh wants. Let me tell you something before we go on to verse number 19. You can get whatever you want. You can have a hard heart if you want. You can have a hard heart towards God if you want. And you know what? God's not going to do anything to intervene in your hard heart. Do you understand that? I hope that your heart's not hard towards God. Now, I'm running out of time. Verse number 19. I've got a bunch of verses to cover today. And it says in verse number 19, "You will say to me then, why does God still find fault? For who resists his will? On the contrary, who are you, O man, to answer back to God? The thing molded will not say to the molder, why did you make me like this? Will it?" You see, we need to understand here what the Apostle Paul is trying to get across to us. He asks questions again. And he says, why does he still find fault? He's talking about why does God still find fault? And who resists his will? Why is God giving or finding fault to people that are resisting his will? This is why. It's because God does not come and make up your mind. He allows you to make a choice. And you can harden your heart like Pharaoh did, and you know what? God's going to allow your heart to be hardened. And then on verse number 20, on the contrary, who are you, O man, to answer back to God? Who are you to talk back to God? That's what it really means. Who are you to talk back to God? Does the thing molded will not say to the molder, why do you make me like this? Why did you do that? Why didn't you just control me? Why didn't you just make me do something I didn't want to do? Well, you don't talk to the molder. You don't talk to the master like that. Because you know what? It's your responsibility. If you don't give your heart to Jesus and you die and you spend an eternity in hell, you know what? You're not going to be able to sit in hell and say it's all God's fault. You understand that? Oh, he didn't choose me, so I'm spending eternity in hell. No. It's your fault. Maybe I'm talking to people that are not saved. I don't know who's all inside that camera. But if you haven't chosen Jesus to be the Lord of your life and received the forgiveness of sins and received His compassion, His mercy, His power to change your life, it's your fault. So change it. Make a decision to follow Him. And I've got to go on. Verse number 21. Or does not the potter have the right over the clay to make him the same lump, one vessel of honor and another of common use? Now again, he's talking here about a nation. One vessel of honor, that's the nation of Israel. One of common use, that's the Gentile nation. Verse number 22. What if God, although willing to demonstrate His wrath and make His power known, endured with patience vessels of wrath prepared for destruction? Let me tell you something. God is enduring with patience the people who deserve His wrath. The Gentiles, the unbelievers. You know that as unbelievers, they are destined to the wrath of God, but God is waiting. He's waiting. Sometimes people say, well, I don't know why Jesus hadn't come. Well, because He's waiting for people to come into relationship with Him. What if God, although willing to demonstrate His wrath, to make His power known, endure with such patience vessels of wrath, unbelievers, both Jewish and Gentile? Verse number 23. And He did so to make known the riches of the glory upon vessels of mercy. Notice He didn't say vessels of honor, vessels of common. He said now vessels of wrath and vessels of mercy. You know what? God shows His glory upon those who receive His mercy by faith. We're going to talk about that tomorrow, which He prepared beforehand. This was God's plan, that people would receive His mercy. Verse number 24. Even us. That's you. Hopefully that's you. Excuse me. That's me. Even us, whom He has called, He's beckoned us, not from among the Jews only, but also from among the Gentiles. God is calling you. If you're not in relationship with Him today, He's saying, come. Come and receive my mercy. Come and receive my compassion and my power to change your life. I hope that you do that today. Thank you for watching. Join us again tomorrow.